Welcome to Famous People, English Stories. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
Introduction. This story is about a boy who faced many challenges but refused to give up. It's a story about strength, determination, and believing in yourself even when no one else does. The boy didn't have much, no wealth, no strong body, no special talent, but he had something rare, a heart that wouldn't quit. As you listen and read, you'll discover how one small decision can shape a life, and how pain can lead to purpose. This story will help you practice your English while reminding you that success doesn't come from perfection, it comes from persistence. Part 1. The struggle begins. Liam was the smallest boy in his class. He wasn't fast. He wasn't strong. He didn't have the best grades. Every time there was a race, he came in last. When there was a test, he barely passed. People didn't expect much from Liam. His teachers often shook their heads and said, "He tries, but maybe he just isn't made for school." At home, things weren't much better. Liam's father worked long hours and came home tired. His mother was sick and stayed in bed most days. Liam often sat quietly at her side, reading to her from old library books. He didn't understand all the words, but he kept reading anyway. One day, Liam saw a poster at school, "Join the speech contest, tell a story that inspires." He stared at the paper. His heart started to beat faster. He had never spoken in front of the class before. People barely noticed when he raised his hand. But that night, he told his mother about it. She smiled faintly and whispered, "You should try, Liam. I believe in you." For the next 2 weeks, Liam practiced. Every night, while the house was quiet, he stood in front of a cracked mirror and told his story, a story about a boy who never gave up, even when life was hard. He stumbled on words. He forgot lines. But each night, he got a little better. On the day of the contest, Liam's hands were shaking. The room was full of students, teachers, and parents. Some kids had perfect notes and clear voices. Liam stood up, feeling small. But then he remembered his mother's voice, "I believe in you." He took a breath and began. He told the story slowly, carefully. He spoke from the heart. He talked about falling and getting back up. About being laughed at, but still showing up. About reading to someone you love, even when the words are hard. When he finished, the room was silent for a moment. Then, applause. Real applause. Liam didn't win first place, but something had changed. People looked at him differently. His teachers smiled. His classmates clapped him on the back. He walked home that day not as the smallest boy in the class, but as the boy who never gave up. Part 2. What happened after the contest? After the contest, something inside Liam had shifted. He didn't suddenly become the smartest student or the fastest runner. But he had tasted something new, confidence. The next day at school, his English teacher stopped him in the hallway. "Liam," she said, "your speech moved me. You have a gift. Would you like to join the storytelling club?" Liam hesitated. A club? Him? He'd never been asked to join anything before. But he nodded. "Yes," he said. "I'd like that." At the first meeting, he felt nervous again. The other students spoke fast and used words he didn't always understand. But he listened. He watched. And little by little, he started sharing. His stories weren't loud or full of big words. But they were honest. And people listened. At home, his mother grew weaker. There were more quiet days, more visits to the doctor. But every night, Liam came to her room and read aloud. One evening, she smiled faintly and whispered, "Tell me one of your stories instead." So he did. He told her about a boy who was afraid, but spoke anyway. About small steps that led to big changes. About kindness, and how even one voice can make a difference. His mother's eyes filled with tears. "Keep telling stories, Liam," she said. "They matter." That night, Liam sat by the window, thinking. Maybe he wasn't just reading to improve. Maybe he was learning so he could share. So he could reach people, just like he had reached his mother. The boy who had once been invisible was slowly becoming a voice people remembered. Part 3: A Voice That Grew. The seasons changed, and with them, so did Liam. He started entering more contests, not to win, but to grow. Each time he stood up to speak, his voice grew a little stronger. His ideas a little clearer. He didn't always get applause. Some speeches were better than others. But he never stopped. His classmates began to notice. Some started sitting beside him at lunch, asking for help with their writing. One girl said, "I like how your stories make me feel something. You say things I didn't know how to say." That was the moment Liam realized something important. His weakness had become his strength. Being quiet, being thoughtful, being slow to speak had helped him listen more deeply. It helped him understand others better. At home, his mother's condition worsened. She could no longer speak, but she could still hear. So Liam kept reading, kept telling stories. He read her poems, short tales, pieces he wrote at school. He watched her smile through the pain, sometimes with tears in her eyes. The night she passed away, Liam sat by her bed and whispered one last story. It was a story about her. About how her belief in a small, uncertain boy had planted a seed that turned into something powerful. Years later, Liam stood on a different stage, this time at a university graduation. He wasn't the top of his class. But he was the student chosen to give the farewell speech. He stood before hundreds, holding nothing but a single page. He looked out at the audience and said, "I was once the boy no one noticed. But someone believed in me. And I believed in myself." That's how we begin to change the world, one quiet voice at a time. And with that, the boy who never gave up became the man who helped others rise. Thank you for reading and listening to The Boy Who Never Gave Up. If this story inspired you, don't stop here. Practice your English every day, even when it's hard. Believe in your progress, even when it feels slow. And most of all, never give up, your voice matters. Subscribe for more motivational stories and graded readers to improve your English. Like, share, and leave a comment. What's one challenge you refuse to give up on? Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep believing. See you in the next story.